Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a foundation review and all day wear test. You guys might be looking at me like, why are you excited about this? I'm excited because I have not done one of these in what feels like forever and a day, and it's a foundation that I have been looking forward to the release. From Tom Ford, the Traceless Soft Matte Foundation. As usual, I'm going to give you guys the information. I'm going to apply it, and then I'm going to do the all-day wear test, and you will get my review at the very end because nope, this is not the first time that I have worn this. I have gathered some thoughts and opinions on this, and I will share them with you at the end. But first, let's go ahead and talk about all of the information. First off, if this looks familiar to you, you're not seeing things. The original was the Traceless Perfecting Foundation, and it had an SPF of 15, and that's one of the differences in this one. There's no SPF, which I am perfectly okay with. I prefer not to have SPF in my foundation for a couple reasons. First, usually they tend to break me out. There are a few exceptions, especially like the recent release from Tom Ford. This is the Shade and Illuminate Soft Radiance Foundation. This and the Estee Lauder HYDRA Rescue. It has a combination of mineral and chemical sunscreens, and for whatever reason, those are fine with my skin. I find that the consistency of this one is different. I much prefer the formula of this, as well as the coverage. This has more coverage, and it just overall on the skin, in my opinion, it looks better. The Traceless Soft Matte Foundation retails for $88, so not as expensive as the Shade and Illuminate at $150, but still expensive. Now for the claims, it is a soft focus matte foundation with a hydrating silky formula and medium to full coverage that lasts all day. On Sephora, it says that it is for all skin types, normal, dry, combination, and oily. Myself, I am combo. It contains hyaluronic acid, which sometimes is good and sometimes is bad. It has to be at the right level and the amount and like all these different things, because hyaluronic acid can do one of two things. It can either draw moisture into your skin or pull it out. That's why a lot of times products that I use that have hyaluronic acid in them, that isn't skincare that's going underneath a moisturizer. Like how I prefer to use a hyaluronic acid is to have it in a serum and put it underneath my moisturizer, and then it's going to draw moisture into my skin. Sometimes it doesn't cause any issue at all, like the Hyaluronic Hydra Powder from By Terra. I don't have any problems with it. The primer, don't have any problems with it, but then I've had issues with their foundation, with other foundations with hyaluronic acid in it, with setting sprays with hyaluronic acid in it. I think it just depends on the amount and again, where it falls on the ingredient list and just a bunch of different factors, but that is in this product. It also claims to have an active blend of antioxidants, and then soft focus microsphere powders diffuse and blur light. This formula is also humidity and sweat resistant, and I did put that to the test. I wore this to Pilates. There's a few other ingredients I want to go over. However, I'm going to talk about that at the end. So without further ado, let's go ahead and put this on my face. Starting off with a ghostly face and a tan body. It's okay though, because this does deepen up a little bit and bronzer. Anywho, I am going to be going in with the shade Vellum number 2.7 and a Sonia Kashuk sponge. A little of this goes a long way, and it's much thinner than I had anticipated. I just saw soft matte and was thinking, okay, well, it's going to be a matte foundation, and it's pretty runny. Every time I have used this, I have noticed that it does deepen up a little bit, which is good for me right now, but I don't think I'd be able to use this same shade during the winter. Now I'm just taking the excess from my sponge to go on my forehead. I don't like to have too much product up here. One layer of this, and I would say it's a high medium coverage. Everything is covered, but like you see here, my tattoos, even if I'm going back over them just lightly with a little bit of foundation that's left on my sponge, it's still not going to cover them up. I would say high medium buildable though. I can tell that you could build this up. I don't like to do that, so I'm not going to, but the finish of this is what is really surprising. I don't think that this is a matte finish. I feel like this is a satin natural finish. I even have a little bit of a glow, which I am not mad at. I really didn't want this to be super matte, and I'm really glad that it's not. When I set everything, it's going to look matte, but not whenever it has nothing on top. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in. My skin looks really smooth, even the pore area. I don't find it to be caking there or settling in my pores or anything like that. This doesn't feel heavy, and I wouldn't say that it looks heavy, but it looks heavier than what I am used to. I'm not used to seeing this much coverage on my face. I've been using the HYDRA Rescue from Estee Lauder for a while, so this is more than what I'm used to, but I don't feel like it looks cakey or anything like that. Now I am going to go set everything, and I will be back to show you what it looks like after I complete everything and bronze up this face. Before I go and set my face and do everything, I wanted to quickly just tell you guys, I already am noticing that this is at least a shade darker, and it's only been like 10 minutes or something. So it's already deepening up, and this is again something that I have noticed as I have worn it. All right, I'll be right back. Here's what it looks like with my makeup completely finished. Now it's been about an hour because I am filming another video, mascara, but everything looks really nice and smooth. It is on the matte side now that I have mattified it with a powder, but I feel like everything looks really nice, and we will see how it lasts. You just saw my first check-in with everything nice and fresh. Now I want to talk about some of those ingredients that I talked about before I got into the demo. The first thing is the alcohol that is listed on the ingredient list, and I don't know how to say this. Isocetyl, it's this type of alcohol right here. I read this incorrectly as isopropyl alcohol, which is drying to the skin. However, this one, which is the 6th ingredient, so it is in the top 6, it's not a drying alcohol. It's a fatty alcohol and not one that's supposed to be drying on the skin. And actually, it's the 5th ingredient. My bad. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about was the capric triglyceride. And further down the list, we have another, where's it at? Caprylyl glycol. That is way down, but those 2 ingredients can sometimes mess with my skin. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Usually when these ingredients are up on the higher end of the list, I do tend to break out. Like I usually will get these just tiny little white heads. So one of the ingredients is high up and then one of them is lower down. I'll let you guys know how it has gone so far again at the end, but there's one more ingredient, and that is lavender oil. Some people have an issue with this, some people don't. Sometimes it affects me, sometimes it does not. It's also in the shade and Illuminate foundation, so if this one doesn't bother you, I would suspect that this one wouldn't, but just letting you know that lavender oil is in there. Anywho, now I'm gonna go about my day, and I will be back in roughly 4 to 5 hours. Here we are at 6 hours, and honestly, I can't say that a lot has changed. Really, the only difference that I can feel that I really don't think that you guys are gonna be able to tell on camera is that it's just a little bit more skin-like, as in not as matte as it was when I first powdered and finished everything, but still smooth, pores still look great. Nothing is wearing off. It looks amazing at 6 hours. Moving on to 10 hours. You guys, this still looks absolutely incredible. It's still super smooth, still no wearing down, not even on my smile lines, which is a feat in of itself because I was outside with my dogs throwing the ball. It was humid, it had just rained, and everything just still looks absolutely incredible. This has been my experience every single time I have worn this foundation. Only once have I worn a primer on the perimeter of my face. I always have primers on my pores. Always, always, always. But I tried it one day with the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas. And I will say, it looked just a little bit smoother, but nothing really changed even then. This foundation wears well on its own. At least it does on me. And again, I do have combo skin. oily in the T-zone and I can be dry to normal on the outside of my face. So if you're like me in your combo, or if you're normal or oily, I think that you would like this foundation. If you have dry skin, I think it's possible that you might like this. I would prep your skin, really make sure it's nice and hydrated and moisturized before going in with this, but it's not extremely matte. Like the name of it, soft matte, it's not really a matte foundation until you powder it. I want to show you guys just how thin this is, or how fluidy it is. I'm going to show you just really quickly. It's kind of runny. I feel like I'm wasting it, but you can see it's just going to start pouring down my dish. It is not a thick consistency, which I really was pleased to see, because a lot of times when you see matte, even if it says soft matte, it can tend to be a little bit thicker, and I like that this is not super thick on the skin. I like the coverage that you get. I like the way it looks. I like how smooth it is. Like, this really makes my skin look so nice and smooth. I wonder how many times I have said that during this video. I will say that the one day that I wore it to Pilates, I got super sweaty. Now, I did wear it outside today, like I said, humid, it had been raining, and I was throwing the ball with my dogs, but still not the same as Pilates. And that particular day, I got really sweaty, and I would say that I looked a little dewy. And then when everything calmed down, it just went straight back to normal. The only difference was at the very end of that day, which was much longer. I want to say it was around 16 hours. It looked a little bit more worn in, but in a way that most foundations look like at 8 to 10 hours. It just looked like I had the foundation on for a while, but it still was pretty much flawless. As far as breakouts go, because I was talking about the ingredients, I did get a couple. Nothing major, nothing huge, and everything that happened went away overnight. I used Retin A, so a lot of times anything that's small like this just goes away overnight. But I got one right here, and then here, and one day there was one right up top right here. Nothing that's going to bother me or deter me from wearing this. My final 2 cents on the Tom Ford Traceless Soft Matte Foundation. It is a beauty. It looks beautiful on the skin. It wears beautifully, and it's super smooth. I had to put that word in there just one more time for you guys. Anywho, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Please let everybody know down below if you've tried this foundation out, what your skin type is, and what your experience is with it. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.